All right, good Friday evening, everyone. We are tracking soon to be Debby. That has just formed a tropical depression, or just a few hours ago. There is tropical storm warnings and tropical storm watches that were posted earlier today as well. If you've been following us on Facebook, we've been providing some updates over there. But we're going to go over the latest National Hurricane Center track here in just a second, go over some model guidance, and I think, there is enough time that this thing is coming further and further west. There's going to be enough time if this thing gets its act together pretty quickly tomorrow. This thing's going to make a run at a hurricane before it hits up there towards the Big Bend area of Florida, possibly. But Florida's going to be, regardless of development, Florida's going to be ransacked with a ton of rain, and there's going to be tornado threat as well. So we're going to go over all those details. But first, if you're just not joining us, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, that like button. Comment where you're from, and share this with your friends and family. There's going to be a lot of people going on vacations. I know, going to Florida. You know people that's down in Florida, maybe even Georgia and the Carolinas even, because this thing could start slowing down as we get to Monday, kind of creep along, and then the question is it going to get back over into the Atlantic and into the Gulf Stream? If it does, this thing should ramp back up and possibly become a hurricane as well off the Carolina seaboard here. But like I said, we have a lot of stuff to go over here, so let's get right into it. All right, here is the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center as of 11 p.m. Eastern. This is their advisory number 3. This is now a tropical depression, number 4 on the season. Like I said, tropical depression forms off the south coast of Cuba. This is actually over water now. The question is how long will it become or stay over water? It's going to go back over Cuba, though, and then head into the Gulf, which is very, very warm waters there. So this thing should ramp up pretty quickly. Should be a tropical storm by tomorrow evening over the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, like I said, by late tomorrow, which is Saturday. Okay. All right. Tropical storm warning has been issued for the dry Tortugas. Tropical storm warning for also in effect for the west coast of Florida Peninsula from East Cape Sable to Boca Grande. And then a tropical storm watch is in effect for the Florida Keys, south of the Card Sound Bridge, the southern coast of Florida Peninsula, east of East Cape Sable to the Card Sound Bridge is under a tropical storm watch as well. The west coast of Florida Peninsula, north of Boca Grande to the mouth of the Swanee River is under a tropical storm watch. There's also a storm surge watch that's in effect for Bonita Beach, northward to the mouth of the Swanee River, including Tampa Bay and Charlotte Harbor as well. So that's the latest advisories. Be honest with you, I would not be shocked when we woke up maybe tomorrow or tomorrow afternoon, as this thing really starts cranking up, getting into the Gulf of Mexico, to start seeing some hurricane watches put up as well. So need to stay weather aware over the next few days here, as this is Florida weather is going to go downhill in a hurry as we go throughout the weekend. Okay, so the maximum sustained winds right now is 30 miles per hour. Movement is west-northwest at 17. As of right now, like I said, it's going to cross over Florida, get into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's really going to start picking up steam. As of right now, it has a high-end, National Hurricane Center has a high-end tropical storm, really close to hurricane status. I think it's got it up to a 65, 70 mile per hour tropical storm. But I do believe that this thing could overachieve and get into hurricane status before it hits Florida, especially on the current track it's on, because this thing continues to come a little bit further west on its track here before it starts hooking back into Florida, and then eventually off the eastern or southeastern seaboard here across the Carolinas. All right, this is the latest storm surge forecast, which I do believe there's going to be a lot of changes to this as we go throughout tomorrow and tomorrow evening. But anywhere from the Swanee River down through Tampa Bay to Charlotte Harbor, 2 to 4 feet storm surge is possible. From Bonita Beach all the way to Cardstown Bridge, 1 to 3 feet. And then down here towards the Dry Tortugas, 1 to 2 feet of storm surge is likely. All right, here's the latest rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center here. So this is, you can see the west coast of Florida here, excluding the Tampa Bay area, anywhere from probably, I would say probably 6 to probably 8 to 10 inches of rain is possible. Even inland, this yellow area, 4 to 6 inches possible, even on the east side of the Florida Peninsula here, over towards Orlando. Could see 2 to 4 inches even over that way. Now, it depends on the track of this. This goes up the eastern seaboard here of the Carolinas. There's going to be a ton of rain along the coast here from Galveston, Charleston, up to Wilmington to probably Cape Hatteras eventually coming into next week. But like I said, all depends on track. And if this thing slows down, there's going to be a ton more rain up here in southern Georgia into northern Florida than what it depicts on this. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind as well. All right, as far as timing goes, we're going to look at the earliest arrival time of tropical storm force winds. This is in excess of 39 miles per hour. We're talking probably along the Keys here, starting to go downhill as we go into early to tomorrow afternoon. So probably about 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. And once we get about 8 o'clock Saturday, starts making its way into southern parts of the Florida Peninsula here, then continuously going downhill as you go throughout middle of the Florida Peninsula towards the northern parts of the state. As we go into Sunday morning and then throughout the day Sunday, that's when it's probably going to make landfall eventually here and then possibly slow down and then meander off the coast of the Carolinas. So we'll see how this plays out. We're going to go over a few models here as well. But here's the latest timing. This is from the National Hurricane Center. All these times are Eastern time. All right, latest hurricane model guidance. For Tropical Depression 4, soon to be Debby, of course, coming into tomorrow. Like I said, it has a track coming a little bit further west and then coming into the Big Bend of Florida as we head towards late weekend into early Monday and then slowing way down across parts of southern Georgia into northern Florida, which I think there's going to be a lot more rain than what was depicted on the latest guidance from the Weather Prediction Center. So we'll see how that plays out. But then it slowly meanders and then gets off the coast here possibly and kind of hugging the coast. This could be very bad news with beach erosion, storm surge, etc. along the coast of the Carolinas and then finally possibly getting out of here. But this could either just hug the coast or come right off the coast, the center come right off the coast, which could re-strengthen after landfall Sunday across Florida, then heading over towards Monday, Tuesday, could come across the Gulf Stream even, strengthen, and just continue to just lash at the coast of the Carolinas as we go towards early to middle of next week. All right, here's the latest GFS model guidance here. Continues. I think this track is pretty good coming across and then heading into the Big Bend area of Florida and then into southern Georgia, then coming off the coast and just kind of skirt along the coast here all the way up to eastern seaboard, all the way possibly up to Maine, off the coast of Maine here, and then heading north east from there. Okay, we're going to take a look at the Euro and the Canadian. All right, the latest Euro is not out yet, but here's a Canadian here taking it basically along the west coast of Florida here. This is actually older data, but I think this is going to be a little bit further west than what this depicts. But Big Bend area is going to get impacted by this, and then the Canadian actually keeps it over land here until it hits the Outer Banks of North Carolina, then comes out again, and then starts heading northeast out from there. So basically, here is the outlier. It's probably best case scenario here. So the Canadian actually keeps it a lower end tropical storm. What you see on your screen is the wind maximum sustained wind speed forecast. This is for the Canadian model. And then we go to the GFS. This actually the latest deterministic model, 18Z deterministic model, actually brings it up to a hurricane, which I do think could happen across that area, because this thing is coming a little bit further west. We were afraid of that. And these things are notorious. You need to watch, especially as we go into tomorrow night in through Sunday. I think there could be a chance that this could rapidly strengthen. Okay. And then this thing could strengthen all the way to landfall, which could be early Monday morning. So stay tuned. I think the National Hurricane Center will probably bump up the forecast here, and I do believe there's going to be hurricane watches out as we go into probably tomorrow afternoon. That's something to keep an eye on. All right, so this is the latest. Like I said, the GFS deterministic model actually brings it up into a Cat 1 hurricane. As we get into later this weekend, and then as we go into the hurricane models here, brings this thing up into a Cat 1. Some models bring it up to a Cat 1 status of a hurricane, brings it back down, then takes it right back up as it heads offshore again. So it just depends on all the factors here, but this thing's kind of loosely organized at the moment. It is a tropical depression. There is hurricane hunters, hurricane aircraft, hunter aircraft that's going into the system as well. So we're going to get more and more data, but I think as soon as this hits the Gulf, there's going to be all bets are off. This thing's going to rapidly strengthen, and then it could be conducive for some rapid strengthening. So that's something to keep an eye on. I know there's only tropical storm warnings, tropical storm watches, but I would say you need to plan on at least a Cat 1 hurricane up here towards the Big Bend area of Florida. Okay, and then these bands are going to be lashing the west coast of the Florida Peninsula here, including the Tampa Bay area with some big water rises coming in as well. 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. It's probably going to go up as we go into tomorrow. So we'll have all the latest. We'll probably do 2 videos on Saturday. Probably do one midday, then one at night. Kind of keep you guys up to date on what is happening across the area. Please make sure you're listening to local officials. If they tell you to evacuate, you need to. Okay, so because storm surge is nothing to play around with, and if you get stuck, the emergency personnel will not come to you. So need to listen to your local authorities. Like I said, if they tell you to evacuate, you need to evacuate, because storm surge is nothing to play around with. And then we possibly could be dealing with a Cat 1 hurricane. Maybe has a chance, maybe a little bit higher strength, miles per hour, that is, speed-wise, wind-wise, sustained wind-wise, that is, coming into parts of Florida here. So there's going to be a lot of changes, I think, in the next 24 hours, so you need to stay tuned. Stay up to date with us. We'll have the latest in the morning on Facebook. We'll have a midday update on YouTube and Facebook video-wise, and then we'll have another video out tomorrow evening as well, keeping you ahead of soon-to-be Debby.